Right, so I think let's get started. So yeah, good morning everyone and a very warm welcome. On behalf of PMI North India chapter, I'm delighted to welcome you to today's webinar, that is Agents to Agentic Systems, Architecture, Coordination and Enterprise Outcomes. I'm Pratibha Sinha and I will be your host for today's session. Now, before we go into the session, I would just like to remind you about the ground rules. Please remain on mute during the entire session to avoid any disturbances during the session. In case if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to share them in the chat. We will take them up at the end of the session during the Q&A section. As a reminder, this session is being recorded and will be posted on YouTube. And lastly, at the end of the session, I will be sharing the link to the feedback survey. Once you submit your feedback, the PDU code will be displayed and you can claim this PDU in your by going to the PMI website. Okay, now that we are done with the ground rules, I would also like to take this opportunity to invite you to the upcoming chapter events that are planned in the near future. So very soon we have the career fair that is coming up. So this is planned on 28th June. It will be an in-person event. Of course, this will give you an opportunity to meet like-minded professionals, but you can also get to know about the current hiring trends, the skills that are in demand, and accordingly plan your own career growth. So do make use of this opportunity that is coming up. Please mark your calendars, 28th June. Please register if you have not yet registered. And after this, there is another flagship event which is coming up, that is Project Sutra. The event itself is planned on 23rd August. Speaker registrations will be starting very soon. This is another in-person event. Yeah, so this is the event, which is basically for our chapter members. And if anyone, believes that their project is worth showcasing, please feel.
Is it enough? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear some background noise. Okay, yeah, much better now. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, this is the other event that is coming up. If you believe that your project is worth showcasing, do register here. The top 10, 12 projects will be shortlisted and, they will be, the speakers will be presenting their projects on 28th August. So another, major event that is coming up. Yeah, please be tuned. So, now that I've covered this, I think let's come to the main agenda of today's webinar. So to take us through the topic of agents to agentic systems, architecture, coordination, and enterprise outcomes, we are very fortunate to have an exceptional expert with us today. Our speaker, 𝐀𝐲 𝐓𝐚, is a senior technology and program management leader with over 21 years of experience in enterprise digital transformation, cloud modernization, and applied AI. 𝐀𝐲 currently serves in a principal level leadership role, driving large-scale enterprise modernization programs that integrate machine learning, intelligent automation, and agile delivery. He is also Director of Strategy and Growth at PMI Austin chapter. He is a senior member of IEEE and fellow of both British Computer Society and Association for Project Management. With this, please join me in welcoming 𝐀𝐲 𝐓𝐚. 𝐀𝐲, over to you.
Thank you, Pratibha. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So let me share my screen, and thanks for the introduction. Let me know once you're able to see. Is it all good?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
Visible.
I'll just minimize this. Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Right? Still morning for you guys. For me, it is 12:30, but it's a privilege for me. It's an honor for me to serve this topic to all of you guys. So Pradeep already introduced me. I'm 𝐀𝐬𝐲 𝐬𝐻. And today we'll be talking about a very interesting topic, agents to agentic systems, the architecture, coordination, and enterprise outcomes, right? So not going to take much time to introduce myself. That's already been done, right? So, but one quick thing, right? What about my hobbies and a little bit about my, interest. So I enjoy most in talking complex AI and cloud ideas and making them, in practical, sometime or something like, leaders can actually understand and implement. So that's my goal, to deliver the complexity of AI in simple terms. And outside of works, I regularly contribute as a speaker and reviewer in technology communities. So that's all about me in short. So let's get into the topic, right? So moving to the next slide. Let's start with an overview. So first, we'll understand in today's topic, we'll first understand the journey from standalone AI to coordinated agentic system and what that shift means for enterprise outcomes or enterprise industries, right? Then we'll examine how agents are designed, architect, how they coordinate, and why this distinction matters for projects and program leaders navigating AI-driven transformation. And then finally, we are going to look at real example in 3 domains: e-commerce, insurance, and healthcare. And you will see how organizations are deploying agentic systems to deliver measurable business outcomes. So the learning objectives, right? The first, you will understand the journey from standalone AI agent to coordinated agentic systems, what changes and why does it matter for leaders like you. Second, you will see how agentic architecture and coordination translate into a real enterprise outcome. Where does this create measurable value? And finally, you will recognize orchestration patterns from real deployment, 3 different industry domains: e-commerce, insurance, and healthcare. And how do this system actually works together at scale across these 3 different domains. So quick agenda, right? So we start with the AI landscape and tracing the path from traditional AI all the way to agentic AI or agentic systems, and understand what makes something truly agentic. That's important, truly agentic. And then we'll go into architecture and coordination. So I'll make sure that the architecture is lightweight and it's understandable by a non-technical person. Okay, so we'll go architecture and coordination across the different agentic system, how the systems are built and how agents work together. After that, we'll look at enterprise outcomes, the real world business cases, and then we'll bring it to 3 different industry domains. We talked about those 3 domains in previous slide, and for each of those domains, we'll look at real world deployment examples. And finally, we'll close the sessions with key takeaways and Q&A. So the first section that for us, my friend, would be the AI landscape from AI to agentic AI. A lot of you guys might have known this, but let me give you a good recap. Let's understand the AI landscape from here, right? So I'll start by setting the stage. Like, AI is not one thing. It has evolved through distinct layers over decades, maybe 30-40 years or even more. And each layer has changed what was actually possible in business. So to make this real, I want to use an example you deal with every day as a program managers, managing project risks. That's a very common theme, right? Program managers. So we'll walk through each layer using a real example and from our day-to-day management work. So the layer you see on the right side, right? You might be very familiar with this onion peel diagram. So, but let's go a little deeper. So first layer is the AI itself, 1950 onwards. That what we know this AI is used to call a classic AI. right? So it's been there for a long time. And traditionally, it was nothing but a rule-based systems without any learning and adaptations, right? The classic AI. Millions of rules are actually working together and create a kind of pseudo intelligence. That's all classic AI is. For example, it used to be that, like, 20 years back, for an example, it used to be like when the budget exceeded the threshold, the system would raise a flag and escalate to the sponsors or the stakeholders. So a lot of us might remember, our coordination formatting, our conditional formatting in our first project trackers, right? So those things are purely rule based, and that's nothing but classic AI. Next is machine learning. So this is where things started getting interesting, right? Instead of someone writing the rules, the system started learning. Sorry, can you go mute, please? So the system started learning from data on its own. Or is it something you are not able to hear me?
Yeah. No, Jaideep, you are clear, loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. So think about your project management tools today. So they started can you mute yourself? There is some background noise. Sajiva, can you check if you can mute the person?
That's what I was just going to say.
मॉडल नंबर भेज दूं?
Okay, perfect. So instead of someone writing the rules, I was talking about the machine learning, right? So instead of someone writing the rules, the system started learning from data on its own. Basically, they're understanding.
Jaideep, I think you are also get muted. Can you please unmute yourself?
Okay, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, thank
you.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so let me start with from ML, and please go mute whomsoever is actually here listening. Okay, so about the machine learning, right? Instead of something writing in rules, the system started learning from data on its own, trying to understand a pattern from a data. For an example, the weather forecasting system. We have tons of millions of data of weathers after years, and those pattern has been analyzed. And then now the ML system or machine learning models can predict the future of weather. Think about, like, your project management tools today, right? So they started predicting schedule slippage before you even raise a concern. They started predicting, right? Even if you do not know, sometimes you might not realize, but the model realized based on the data and pattern. So because they had seen the same warning signs in hundreds of projects before yours, the system was learning from experience, just like we do. Next is deep learning took that further. Instead, like 2016 onwards, on all this transformer model and all the advanced model coming, right? So it is more advanced from the machine learning. So inspired by human brain works, like we have neurons, right? So how deep learning works, they're trying to mimic the brain structure, human brain structure, neurons, in forms of nodes and weights. I'm not getting into technical part though, but just giving you the intention here behind the deep learning. So now the system could go beyond the deep learning systems, could go beyond numbers and structured data. It could read your status updates as a project manager. If you have status, right? So it can read your status updates, your meeting notes, your emails, and start identifying risk hidden in the language itself. So not just what the number said, right? But what the word means, like the intention. Sorry. Okay. Right. So next, then come the layer most of us are actually familiar today, generative AI or Gen AI. So this is ChatGPT, Copilot, the tool you probably already using in your day-to-day activities. The system moves from analyzing to creating, and it could now draft your risk register, write your steering committee summary or stakeholder meetings notes, or generate mitigation plan for your risk, right? So a lot of us actually crossed into this layer without even realizing it. We are doing it or using it every day. And the agentic AI layer, the last one on your screen, right, in the diagram, that's the innermost circle, right? So this is where the system stop, waiting for your instructions. So it takes a goal, break it into steps, coordinate with other systems, and gets the work done on its own. So that's my friend agentic AI. So in our project risk example that we were giving, right, it does not just flag the risk, it reassigning the resource, update the schedule, example, and notify the right stakeholders, all without you being asking or without your involvement. So that is not just like intelligence, that is ownership as well. And that is exactly what we are here to explore today. What is agentic AI? Right, so just talked up the landscape, and then we'll go into agent to agentic system, right? The architecture part and the coordination part. Let's understand a little bit about how things works here. So first we'll talk about the basic. What is AI agent? So think it as an like autonomous system. It senses what's happening around it, make decisions, and take actions. Right. So all are to achieve some specific goals, and that goals has been set by you. So it is not just you or your system. I mean, right. So it is not just software executing commands. It is a system that can actually operate independently within defined parameter. Right. Look at the workflow here on the right side of the screen. So 8 key components that works together to create an intelligent agent. Right. So just make a note, agent, AI agent and agentic AI are different, and I'll come to that point. But first we are talking about AI agent before we go to agentic AI, and let me quickly explain this all, 8 components in simple terms. The first is the trigger, something like initiates the process. It could be user input from a customer, schedule that kicks off some certain time, like a bad job, business events in your systems. So whatever it is, right? So this is where the agent starts it work. Second is the guardrail, very important. Security checks, compliance rules, policy validation, all these things, like, we need these boundaries to keep the agent operating safely, right? So you cannot just like, let your AI run wild in your business systems, correct? So these guardrails ensure the agents stay within acceptable limits, follows regulatory requirements, and adhere to business policies. For an example, so in a banking system, you might set up a rule not to do transaction more than 5 lakhs daily. If someone is trying to transfer more than 5 lakhs, the guardrail kicks on, right? It will tell the agent that, okay, don't go further. You stop here. Let's send a message to the person who is actually trying to do the transaction more than 5 lakhs or more than the limit. So this is an example, very simple. It's an example of guardrails, but it is not just only rules, it policies, governance, securities, everything combined together. Third is the context builder. So this gathers everything the agent needs to understand the situation, right? So you have the trigger, it receives the request, the guardrail checks everything. Now the context you are building, and it collects data from your systems, and it sometimes from external systems as well, like historical records or external records, and everything that is needed to get the job done, right? So it could be like, environmental signals or business context as well. So the agent cannot make good decisions without understanding what happened and why it matters, right? So that's why they collect the data. Fourth is the intent detection, right? So this classifies the task and routes it to the right workflow. So it figures out what needs to happen based on the input and the context that has been developed in step 3, such as like this is a customer service request, right? Example, right? So it's a data processing task, example, a workflow approval, a third example. So intent detection ensures the correct process gets triggered. Fourth is the task planning. So this defines the action steps, right? So basically it's by itself, the name explain what it is, planning. So it identifies the required tools and create the roadmap for execution step by step. The agent doesn't just react randomly. It plans out what needs to happen and in what order. Right. Next is the sixth component is execution engine. So this is where the actual works happen. Right. This is where the rubber meets the road. The agent runs actions, maybe call APIs, process data, and get things done. Whatever is needed, it's happen here. So this is where business value gets created, and this is where tasks get completed. Seventh, very important, outcome generations. So this component formats the results and delivers the final output to the users or the system that has been requested the task at step 1. Okay, so this could be a report, a notification, an updated record, or triggered workflow in any, in another system, any form or flavor, whatever the request you ask for, whatever you have asked to generate, it will deliver to you as output, right? 8th, and for me, this is the most important component, logging and feedbacks. So this records actions and monitors performances. So this is critical because the agent learns from every execution. That's why it is autonomous, right? So it tracks what worked, what didn't, and how long things takes. Over time, the agent gets smarter and more efficient through this learning, correct? So this is autonomous within boundaries though. The agent can work independently, but stay within a guardrail you define, correct? Or your system or your organization define. That's what makes an agent rather than just another piece of software, correct? So now one agent doing this is really powerful, right? We understand this part, but what happens when you have multiple specialized agents, each handling a different part of the complex business process and working together, sharing context with each other and coordinating towards a shared outcome or achieve a shared complex goal. So that is where we move from an AI agent to an agentic system or multi-AI agent system, right? And that is exactly where AI agent is at scale in enterprise environment, right? So that I'll move to the next slide, agentic AI. And before I talk about through this diagram that you see on the screen, I want to call out a single most important difference between AI agent and agentic AI. An AI agent follows a plan, a defined plan. Agentic AI rewrite the plan during the execution and if needed after execution. So that's the primary difference. Remember that, right? So it doesn't follow a plan, agentic AI.
Hello.
So,
Hi, sir. A very good morning, sir. I have one question. Can I please ask?
no, we have to wait. Once I finish, you can ask the questions. So
Yeah,
that's
sure.
the distinction.
Yeah. All right. You can put your question in the comment box. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And everything on this diagram is built around that idea, right? So that you plan during execution. Right. So let me walk through these seven components that you see on the screen. Right. So first is goal initiation. So user input starts the process, right? And someone sets an objective and kicks off the workflow. A system could be or user, and same as like standard AI agent so far, whatever you have seen the last screen, last slide. Guardrails like policy checks, safety boundaries, compliance rules. We still need controls, and this is where they live. So basically, goal initiation and guardrails are same in AI agent and agentic AI. There's no different. Intent understanding, the third component. So this is where it gets more sophisticated, agentic AI. So the interpreter does not just take the input at face value. It understands context, the underlying intent, what a user really means, not just what they said actually, So this is where large language model or LLMs and NLP, natural language processing, comes into play, right? To understand the intent or sentiment analysis, you can also see in simple terms. Next is adaptive planning. Now here is the first real, departure from a traditional AI agent. That is not like, a fixed plan where steps A always lead to steps B. Right? The system uses chain of thoughts reasoning to break complex problems into like logical steps into multiple plans, right? Submodule decomposition is another, way the things works along with chain of thoughts, but I'm not getting into again technical part. So it recalls what worked in previous execution, right, for the similar kind of request or same request, and adapts its approaches accordingly. Think of an experienced professional or professor who does not just follow a checklist, but think through the best approaches for each unique situation or task, right? So the next component is autonomous execution. The action controller does the actual work. So it runs tasks, call APIs, process data, and deliver outcome. This is where actually business value gets created. The next is real-time monitoring, very important, right? The system does not fire and forget. It continuously track execution as it happens at every steps. The real-time monitoring monitor every steps when things are working. Okay, so and make sure it is working as expected. For an example, are there errors or exceptions emerging, right? Anything is not working as planned. Think of it like a project manager constantly checking progress rather than waiting until the end, right? Something like that. Next is outcome evaluation. Very important. Once execution completes, the system conducts a deep analysis, not just data, success or failure analysis, but how well did it perform, what worked, what didn't, and what should change next time for the similar kind of request, like on a project retrospective, but it is all automated. So the learning loop, you can see the loop here at the bottom right of the diagram. See the arrow going from outcome evaluation back to adaptive planning, right? So from 7 to number 4, correct? So that is the learning loop. So that is where makes it truly agentic, this agentic system. Like this is the sense, think, act cycle. Also, it is called sense, act, think, act. Sometimes it is called sense, think, act, and adapt cycle, but simplicity, for simplicity, let's call it sense, think, act. The system sense outcomes, thinks through what worked and what didn't, and act by adjusting the plan to the next cycle and even within the same cycle, right? So within the same cycle is actually the true characteristic of an agentic AI. Let's take a real example. Insurance underwriting. So what insurance underwriting is, like issuing insurances for your car or for your home or something, like, so the underwriters, they are reviewing your applications and accept or reject your insurance request. Some of you might be from insurance domain, you might know this, right? So but just for your clarification, like it's happening in insurance domain, the individual taking the decision based on your request, and they review everything. So what they do, the underwriters, they assess risk. The higher the risk, the higher your premium, or they might decline your applications altogether if the risk is too high, right? So that's called insurance underwriting. I'm just giving a context so that you can understand the example. So today, leading insurance companies are already using agentic AI or automate this process. So what used to take days, actually now taking minutes. Earlier it used to take days. So, and a human is still in the loop where it is needed for a final review or something like that, So let's consider for an underwriter agent, right? Not a human, an underwriter agentic AI, right? The original plan, check the applicant's credit score, accident history, and employment details. So 3 things they check to determine eligibility and premium, right? When a user requests. So pretty standard workflow, right, for that agent. But during the same execution, right, real-time monitoring picks up something unexpected. Say something picked up unexpected, that the applicant shows up as a payment defaulter in a separate data source, right? So now if it were a traditional AI agent, it would finish the run, flag the issue, and wait for the next cycle. Agentic AI does something different. That signal goes straight back to the planner, like from outcome 7 to 4 adaptive planning. So the planner replans right there in the same run, adds a new step to check the applicant's detailed payment history and re-execute. That means some part of the planning and execution readjusted autonomously. And that is the power of agentic AI. Okay. So the final underwriting decisions only happen after the additional check is completed, the 4th check, that is the payment history, right? And the outcome reevaluated given the green lights, or if passed, right? Or if failed, then the insurance request will be rejected. The same goal, but smarter path, no human intervention needed. So this is the sense, think, act loop in action for agentic AI, and that is exactly where it separates our agentic AI separates from traditional AI agent. And this is the direction enterprise AI is actually heading towards. So not just system that responds, but system that reasons, replan, and deliver outcomes on their own. Right. So we'll move forward. This is all I think we need to know about the architecture and the interactions, AI agent, agentic AI, and how it works in enterprise environment. So next we'll be moving towards business transformation with agentic AI and some real life examples, right? Okay, so before that, let's talk about agentic AI transformation, transforming business operations. So this is where theory meets actually the reality. So look at the flow here on the right side of the screen. That diagram on the left, you have a traditional process like manual, repetitive, error-prone, expensive, right? Now, a lot of companies before AI era, most of the companies are still there, right? So people are involved in every steps, and improvement depends on constant supervision. In the middle is the agentic AI layer. So this is where the shift happening. So autonomous actually replace manual, adaptive replace fixed workflows, learning replace static processes, and self-optimizations replace constant human tuning, right? So the system doesn't just execute tasks, it adjusts how tasks are executed. And on the rightmost side, you see the outcomes. So efficiency improves, speed increase, accuracy goes up, and cost comes down. So, and here's the key point. This is not about like automating the same old process. It is about redesigning the whole work gets done. The system learns from outcomes. It adapts to changing conditions or changing requirements, and it improves without needing any more human involvement, right? So that's business transformations. So now let's look at some real example across different industries. Before getting into that real examples, we dive into specific, dive into a bigger picture, better say, right? Agentic AI is not like limited in one industry or one functions. Look in this diagram, agentic AI sits at the center and connecting to multiple different business functions. So you see 8 different business functions here: IT support, HR operation, customer service, so and so, right? Till healthcare and legal. So what connects all of this? Autonomous operations connects all of this. These are not like chatbots or simple automation. These are intelligent systems that understand context, make decisions, adapt to situations, and learn from every interactions. So the key point is that across different business functions, we have the same architectural shift, autonomous agentic AI system. And the impact is measurable, such as reduce manual effort, improve accuracy, faster process, right? Better experiences for customers and employees or to the end users. So now let's look at a specific example, right? So 3 examples, 3 different domains we talked about earlier. First, we'll start with the e-commerce. So if we move on, e-commerce, where can agentic AI create values? So you see on the screen, you have 6 major areas. First is, let's start with the personalized shopping. So this is not like a static recommendation system. The system adapts in real time as customer browses. So it learns intent from clicks, time spent, and behavioral patterns, and it continuously defines what it shows next. Second, inventory and supply chain. So it goes beyond basic forecasting. The system learns demand shift, seasonal patterns, engineering trends, and it can reorder early or reduce overstock, or it can adjust dynamically based on the performance data. And what it adjusts stock replenishment, right? So depending on data and performance, it takes the decision by itself autonomously. Third is customer service, and it is not just a chatbot. So the system understands context, customer history, understanding sentiment is most important thing here. It decides when to resolve, when to escalate, and how to respond to the customers or to the end users. And it improves with every interactions with the customers because it is learning autonomously, right? Fourth is dynamic pricing, and it is not a rule-based pricing algorithm, right? The system experiments, measure conversation impact, and adapts pricing strategies based on what actually works. Fifth is order fulfillment. So instead of fixing routine logic, it learns which fulfillment strategies works best under different conditions, like peak seasons, geography, shipping constraints, and adapts accordingly, right? Sixth is the fraud detection. It's a little interesting part, the fraud detection. So traditional system flags pattern you have seen before. Whatever happened earlier, based on that, if you see that kind of pattern, you flag that as a risk. Agentic AI simulates new fraud behaviors. It creates new kind of behaviors that can be fraudulent, and defines new response path. Not only define the attacker's path or fraud activities, new fraud activities or patterns, also the response. So it can predictively prevent new attackers' patterns. Right. So also basically it is like more proactive. So also it learns from confirmed cases and adjust in real time. Well, orchestration part is very important. Now here, what makes it truly powerful, this agents doesn't work in isolations. So these are 6 agents there, right? So it doesn't work in isolation. They are orchestrated together. For an example, like maybe the personalization agent feeds data to pricing agents, inventory agents inform fulfillment agents. Fraud signals influence customer handling, right? So they share insights and optimize collectively. And that's, my friend, the shift. That's how the agentic AI is actually changing the world of e-commerce. And let's show you some real example. Okay, a real example, eBay. So eBay launched their AI shopping agent in May 2025 last year. All right. So this is not just a chatbot. It is an agentic system that leveraged 30 years. I mean, 30 years of marketplace in-house eBay data and their customer insights, right? And their product knowledges. So how it works, the agent gets involved at every stage of customers' buying journey. Like it delivers real time personalized product based on the shopping preferences of the customers, and it guides customers through eBay's vast catalog using conversation prompts or conversational AI. So basically conversational AI is one area of AI where you place order or get the job done through conversation, right? So you can place order through conversation, something like Alexa, Amazon Alexa, right? Not truly net Amazon Alexa. It has a lot of other features only designed for order placement, right? And that could be like any restaurant, you are placing an order to restaurant through an automated system, right? Without any human interactions, or e-commerce order, right? Through conversations. All these things comes under conversation AI. Well, so why it is different? So because traditional search requires users to know the right keywords, but this agents interprets the user's intent. Make a note of this. They understand the user intent. So it understands what shoppers want even when they don't know exactly how to ask for it, right? So it continuously learns from every interactions, getting smarter about individual customer, preferences. So let me give an example of this, right? When I say that it understands the intention. So let's say example that you are going to order a shirt, correct? And you want to order linen shirt. So what is the characteristic of linen fabric? You don't need to iron it, right? So, but you forget the terms linen. Maybe it's not very common. That's the reason, right? So you are searching in Amazon or maybe in that particular e-commerce platform that looking for shirt that doesn't need iron. So your intention is linen shirt. The agentic AI will understand your intention that you are willing to order linen shirt, and it will give you the list of the linen shirt that is available, right? So that's how it's a very classic example, right? You don't mention linen, you explain it what exactly you need. It understand your intent and find the right product for you, right? So current status of this project, as far as I know, like eBay is rolling out its AI shopping agent gradually across different markets. So that's agentic AI, transforming e-commerce at eBay for my and I think they rolled out for some region in US, and they're slowly and gradually rolling out. But that plan is not public. But yeah, this exists in some part of in US. Okay, so we'll move into the insurance. So an insurance industry built on risk assessment, trust, and claim processing. So, and again, the 6 major areas, right? And with the agentic AI is at the center. What are those 6 areas? First is claim processing. So insurance claim processing. What is claim processing? Like when you made an accident, you submit a claim and it will be processed, right? So where old claim processing is just a digitized form, you submit the forms, right? And it's a rule-based system basically. But an agentic AI system is different. It can review a claim, verify policy coverage, access documents, and approve straightforward, and it can pay out automatically. So for example, you just submit a claim and everything would be done autonomously without any involvement of any human being, right? It works very well for simple claim, and for more complex cases, right, where more scrutiny or validation needed, it brings in a human in the loop or human specialist, right? And every process, claim improves the next one, right? So that's the process claim with help of agentic AI. Second is intelligent underwriting. So traditional underwriting, we talked about what is underwriting, right, earlier. So traditional underwriting relies on historical data and manual analysis, correct? But agentic AI autonomously pulls real-time signals such as like behavioral data, external risk indicators, and any other information that is valuable, right? And adapt risk scoring dynamically, right? It does not just apply a fixed rule. It understands the risk as condition changes, right? Third is fraud detection, pretty much same we discussed in few minutes back. So AI agents or agentic AI is here not just flag known patterns. The system adapts to new fraud behaviors and learn which indicators actually matters versus which creates noise. Fourth is customer service automation. So here AI agents handle policy inquiries, process changes, and guide customers through claim filing process. So it also provides 24/7 support. But they don't just answer questions, they understand policy context, customer history, and current claim status of the customers and customize the response accordingly in a much smarter way than chatbot, right? Fifth is risk assessment. So agentic system can analyze broader data signals such as like IoT data, driving behavior, and external data sets. And this data helps to build more dynamic risk portfolios or profiles. Also, risks become constantly or continuously evaluated instead of like periodical reviews. So right, the risk actually been like kind of a live dashboard. Every time there's a risk, it has been analyzed and response has been taken, documented, and action has been taken, I would say. The sixth is policy administration, renewals, policy changes, right? Renewals means insurance renewals, then policy changes and endorsements are all part of this, policy administrations, right? So in agentic world, all these are handled automatically while staying within regulatory rules. So, and over time, the system learns which policy setup works better for what types of customers. Orchestration. So let's talk about the orchestration of all these 6 different agents. And this orchestration makes this whole system powerful. Again, this like e-commerce, this agent doesn't work in isolations. For an example, the claim agent coordinates with the fraud detection agents. The underwriting agents learns from the risk assessment agent, right? Customer service agent has real-time access to policy and claim status. Just these are some examples. So imagine a claim comes in, your system verifies coverage, access damages, check for fraud indicators, calculate payout, and process payment. And at the same time learns from the outcome, and everything happening without any intervention of any human, right? So that's an agentic AI for insurance, my friend. And with that, I'll just let's move on to an example for agentic AI in insurance. Right, Federator is a company in US, and they launched their insurance company in US. I would say launched their agentic AI platform in October 2025 last year for insurance underwriting. So this is actually true agentic AI, not just like automation, right? So what problem they're trying to resolve? They had a particular challenge in their insurance in their world, or any insurance company, right? Underwriters are overwhelmed by submissions. They get lots of submissions that they can handle. So particularly Federator, it was happening. So they don't have the tools to figure out which opportunities are actually worth pursuing, right? And what about the traditional quote process, right? By when someone comes request for an insurance, you generate a quote, right? So that's also part of underwriting, right? So to generate this quotes for every requester, it was taking hours, sometimes days for Federator, right? So then they implement this agentic AI, and how it works here for them. So their platform analyzes large amount of data at lightning speed, that new agentic AI platform. It uses the same logical framework as human underwriters, but executes decisions autonomously and in real time. The system actually generates comprehensive quotes in minutes, not in days, like human do. And each quote includes a detailed explanation, ensuring transparency and trust. Because my friend, insurance company is a regulated company, and explainability is very important for them. So why this is different, right? This is not just actually following scripts or rules, right? What Federator implemented. The AI assess risk, quote pricing, makes underwriting decisions, and adapts based on outcomes, right? It learns from each submissions and keep improving. Business impact, let's talk about that. So underwriter can now prioritize high value risk in real time, for not only for Federator, for any insurance company who are actually implementing this. It can generate quotes real time, very fast space, right? Kind of in a minutes, and and manual inefficiencies are actually eliminated through this process. So, but we have a catch here, because insurance domain is highly, accuracy zone, as I told, right? So it's regulated, and any mistakes could be damaging the whole, the demand of the insurance company, the reputation of the insurance company. So it has less tolerance for mistakes. So hence human always remain in control for insurance companies. So expert underwriters review all the outcomes, or most of the outcomes, I would say, most of the outcomes, and take the final decisions. So however, around 90% of the work is done by the autonomous agent. 10% works involving human to review the outcomes of the agent, right? And that is the real advantage. So 90% work can be automated. And that's the transformation with help of agentic AI in insurance domain. And the last domain is healthcare. Right, so let's talk about it. And this is actually an industry facing workforce shortage, healthcare industry, particularly in US. So data overloaded, and not only in US, mainly majority in Europe also. That is what my understanding. But anyways, it has a workforce shortage and data overload problem, and increasing patients' expectations. So let's see how agentic is helping. Look at the diagram, 6 major areas for healthcare domain, right, where agentic AI can change the things. First is clinical decision supports and diagnosis. So here it is just not flagging abnormal test results. Agentic AI analyze patients' records, medical images, real-time clinical data to provide diagnostic recommendation to the doctors. Second is patient monitoring and predictive alerts. So traditional monitoring reacts after something goes wrong, but agentic AI is alerting this. It continuously analyzes vital signs and health data to predict deterioration before it happens. Third is administrative automation. So doctors spend nearly half their time on documentation and administrative tasks, but agentic AI actually transcribe, consultant, and it transcribed and also act as a consultation, agent or supporter. Autofill forms, suggest billing costs or codes, and any kind of assistance that can be, doctor can do manually, that has been supported by this administrative automation. right? And it saves a lot of time for the doctors. Fourth is preoperative patients preparations. This is basically helping patients get ready for surgery. So we can involve agents here, and these agents are available like 24/7 to answer patients' questions about their surgery, right? And it is using the conversation AI that we discussed earlier, and it is not just like a normal chatbot. Fifth is care coordination across departments. So healthcare has multiple specialist departments and systems, right? And they are not coordinated. Sometimes they are isolated, right? And here agentic AI tracks the patient's journey end to end. It spots delays, notify the right teams, coordinate amongst the different department and teams, and ensure the right care moves forward. And sixth, the last is the treatment planning and personalizations. So here AI agents analyze patient history, generate data, treatment outcomes, etc., and suggest personalized treatment plans. They learn which therapist works best for specific patients, right? So an orchestration similarly, like all these different agents are continuously interacting with each other, like decision support agent works with monitoring agent feeds data into treatment planning, and so and so. So together it was become an orchestrated agentic AI system, and that can definitely benefit the healthcare domain, particularly for the workforce cases. Example, Ottawa Hospital. So Ottawa Hospital partnered with NVIDIA in 2025 to deploy an agentic AI preoperative agents. So the problem there, the hospital had actually they perform 80K or 80,000 surgeries per year, and each surgery required 2 hours preoperative appointment. That means total 160K hours annually. And most of the times was not clinical, it is like more logistic, explaining the patients or patient's family that what this surgery is all about and what are the risks and all these factors. So NVIDIA introduced a new AI-powered digital avatar that gives patients 24/7 access to surgery information. So patients can ask unlimited questions about their procedure preparations and recovery. The agent adapts response based on surgery type, patient's concerns, and follow-up questions. And this is truly different, right? It's what is the impact? The hospital save lots of time. So pre-op appointment reduced by 50%, right? That means 80K staff hours saved annually, right? So patients report also the feedback as per the feedback of this AI agents. The patient reports higher satisfaction, and they feels more prepared, less anxious, and better informed. So that is the benefit of real agentic AI to solve the real healthcare workforce challenge. With that note, here's the key takeaway. So we started with an AI landscape, tracking its evolution from rule-based systems to agentic AI. Each layers we discussed, we learned what makes a system truly agentic. We saw how it transforms businesses, and we saw it lives across 3 industries, right? eBay for e-commerce, Federator for insurance, and Auto Hospital for healthcare. So that's my friend, the agentic AI and the business implementation of agentic AI across different industries. It is not a future concept, it is happening now. And as the project and program leaders, right, understanding the shift is not an option for us. So it is something like, very important for us to live forward to this competitive, world. So with that note, I'll say thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions that you guys have.
Yeah, thank you, Joyjeet. Yeah, thank you for this very insightful session. So we've got a quick recap, right from the basics of AI, how it started, deterministic to agentic. And yeah, thank you for sharing, real world examples, how they are evolving, how they are implemented it across domains. So yeah, thank you very much. So what I will do is let me also send the feedback form so people can start filling up the feedback form. Once you submit the feedback form, you will get the PDU, which you can claim on the PMI website. All right. And now let me take the questions that have come up. I think the first question was about real world examples of an AI agent. I think we've covered that. So I'll move on to the next question. The next question is real-time monitoring, does it involve human in the loop as well? So do we have scenarios where there is real-time monitoring coupled with some human in the loop decision making?
For an example, the insurance industry or any regulated industry, banking, automotive industry, where risk could be high and any mistakes could be life-taking, right? Healthcare, most important. So what happens, how the agentic AI is happening is that we implement the things, but the final decisions. So agent is actually giving all the outcomes. They might be 100% right, but though we also keep 10% of the workload to for the human to review and take the final decision. And that's as a typical terms in AI, which is called human in the loop. And particularly regulated industry, not the product industry, but for regulated industry, that is now kind of a mandate. Everyone is doing that way.
Yeah, all great. Yeah, thank you. So we have another question. How identifying the intent from natural language is different from conversational AI? What makes it agentic AI?
Okay, so conversation AI and intent understanding are two different things. So I'm not getting into the architecture because explaining it will be very complex for you. But intent understanding is actually a particular feature, right? That is been implemented in models, right? So it could be say transformer model, very simple one for LLMs, for natural language processing, that has the capability to understand the intention of a particular set of text, right? Corpus, we call it. So, but on the other hand, conversation AI is actually an implementation of that model, natural language processing. It's not one model, multiple models works together. Voice modulation could be a model, intent understanding could be another part. So the back end multiple models work together and it's making conversation with the human. And that across that conversation, the task could be different. You might ask for an order, or you might ask for checking the status of the order. So depending on different model kicks in and they perform the task. And then after the performance done, they send the result back to the front voice modulation model, which will give you the answer. So conversation AI, intent understanding are two totally different things. One is architecture and another is implementation.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, Yanesh here. Thanks for the explanation. The question was particularly, with regard to the example that you have given for the eBay. So while I was listening to all that, it seems like what eBay is doing, they're mining all the 30 years of data using the traditional machine learning methods and then trying to identify the pattern. And then they are using the conversational AI to, I know in the behind you have to use the NLP engines and all to identify the intent. But the confusion was like what makes it the agentic AI, not the conversational AI or the AI agents?
Because the backend is agent. Conversation is the front end. That's how you're interacting with. And that is also part of the agent. So agent itself, it's like how you define it. It doesn't have a particular format, right? Again, your question is more architecture and Yanesh, you can ping me on WhatsApp, not WhatsApp, sorry, on LinkedIn, right? And I can explain you further. But the whole intention here is the agent that multiple agents are actually working together to get this performance done and autonomously. It is the implementation part, not the architecture part, right? And conversation, again, is the front.
Sure, makes sense. Thank you. I'll probably connect with you.
Sure.
Thanks for explaining.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we have another question. 90% of the work could be eliminated because of agentic AI. That's risky for every employee working in IT companies. What could be the best solution for these 90% employees who are currently at risk to save their employment?
Okay, so one line answer, right? Your job will not be taken by AI. Your job will be taken by people who knows the AI or how to implement AI. So you learn AI is actually the only way to secure your job. It's not an optional choice. It is something like a mandate for any level, like if you are attached to IT, technical, non-technical doesn't matter. You have to learn it, or at least you learn how to use it in your business or in your work, day-to-day work.
Sir, I have one question. Like, do you believe that agentic AI is 100% correct, whatever what it is predicting? Do you feel that?
No, it is predictive models, right? So basically, the accuracy of even the rule-based system is not 100% correct, right? That's why you have production bugs. But things are getting better, right? Day by day, things are improving. what happened in last 1 year back, last year also, there's huge improvement this year and next year. I'm quite sure there will be a lot of improvement. But to prevent any mistakes, we have the human in the loop. So if your business, if you think that, okay, any mistakes could be really costly, we cannot even tolerate 2% mistakes or 1% mistakes, bring a human in the loop for that 5 or 10% of the review parts, right? You have that model in place. Just you need to define that how you will achieve that. If you think that 10%, 5% mistakes would be tolerable, like order processing, 5% order can go wrong, right? That's fine, acceptable. Even rule-based systems also it happen. It used to happen, right? So for in that case, you don't need a human. But if it is, hospital or something, or insurance or banking, any wrong transaction could be damaging the whole reputation of the company. So for that, you need to include a human in the loop to do the final decisions. So it's up to you how you design it, but you have the option.
So, sir, there is always an opportunity. So there is no worry, you mean to say?
Not see, O-ring is something like that. You cannot define it. Depending on your business case. So you need to understand your business case and you need to understand your risk appetite. Based on that, you take the decisions.
Yes, sir, I agree. Thank you for the information, sir.
Thank you. And I think we'll just, interest of time, we'll just take 2 more questions. And then we'll have to, other questions can be taken up, offline, probably using LinkedIn platform. So, the next question is, which AI tool will you suggest to keep pace for PMI professionals? So,
to be honest, I kind of tools, there are thousands of tools are around, right? Giving you any tool could be very risky, to be honest. But if you want to use a tool for LLM, go use Claude, right? So all Claude models, particularly for reasoning, Sonnet, complex work, Opus, Fable is there, but it will be really costly. But once Mythos comes, the whole world will be changing.
How do you see RFP responses being automatically work being generated through agentic AI?
What response?
RFP. I think a
Suppose
lot
an
of companies
RFP.
are doing that. Yeah, as we speak, a lot of companies are doing that. They are building their knowledge bases and
No, are they
using
building
that.
through RAG model or the agent system workflow model?
So what is RFP, first of all, if you just
Request for proposal, customer
Oh,
request
okay.
for proposal.
So yeah, so RAG system, if you are actually trying to protect your data and you have an in-house data that actually very, confidential, you can use anywhere. Doesn't need to be in, RFP model, right? But any large language things where RFP is also part of that, any language particular things that's really advanced nowadays, right? And if you train them well, not only RAG, but RAG is definitely a good option because you already have the predefined formats and all these things, right? But you can actually create a lot of rules outside the model, that conditions basically. I'm not saying rules. Rules is the wrong term. So condition that can customizably work for generating a particular outcome in a particular format, right? Not the whole content, but you give a direction that I need the content and the formatting in this way. So that's how it can be. A lot of companies are doing in different way, but this is just an implementation of large language model, I would say.
So technically speaking, there's not a framework because insurance has started a framework, banking has started a framework. But technically speaking, to respond to an RFP, because the RFP requirements are changing, or the formats are changing, or the internals of that RFPs are changing. So technically speaking, the agent framework is not defined right now.
I don't think this is a very low, important business case, first of all. So for your company, if you want to create a response for RFP, right, request for proposal, then it could be a unique response format for your company. Different company has different RFP response. So then you can design your agentic AI, right, accordingly. So that's up to you. But it is something, a business case, not even comparable to insurance and all. Those are industry standard. This is not. company define their RFP standard, and for that you need to design your own agentic model. And for that you don't need agentic model, to be honest. A LLM with some front-end like coordination, multimodal model would suffice along with a RAG behind.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
All right. So I think, we are above time now. So I think we'll have to wrap up today's session. So,
And the last part here, I'll go to the last slide. If you want to connect me through LinkedIn, it's there on the barcode is here, or QR code, better say, right? So you can scan it, connect me on LinkedIn. I do reply very regularly, very fast. You can ask your question. I'll try my level best to address those.
I've also put his, link, the URL in the chat, so you can use that as well if you want. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think with this, Joydeep, I would want to share my screen for another minute.
Sure, I'll stop.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for this, insightful session. On behalf of the entire PMI North India chapter, I would like to thank you and for delivering this insightful and engaging session. PMI North India chapter will be planting a tree on your behalf.
Pratima,
So
your
there's
screen
a small,
is visible.
yeah. Sorry.
Your
Screen is
screen
not
is
visible.
visible.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Is it visible now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So we would, North India chapter will be planting a tree on your behalf. So thank you for this insightful session. Yeah. And
Thanks a lot.
with this, I would also like to thank our audience today, participants, for being so engaging and asking very thought-provoking questions. And we look forward to your participation in future webinars as well. So thank you very much. I think with this, we will conclude today's session. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful rest
Thank
of the
you
day.
both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.